Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys?
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it. Husband!
Wife!
Do you know what today is?
Well, it is Sunday, technically, still.
Still, yeah.
A little late
Barely.
on Sunday?
Barely
maybe?
Sunday.
Barely Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And we might get this out and released and actually up on the site before the end of Sunday. But it's touch and go there.
And so what are we doing?
So it's Sunday. That means we're doing...
Sacrilegious Book Club.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we going over today?
Today we are in the book that we've been in for a while now and feels like we will be in forever. A treasury of Jewish folklore, stories, traditions, legends, humor, wisdom, and folk songs of the Jewish people. Edited by Nathan Ozubel.
Okay.
And we've covered part 1, which was Jewish salt, part 2, which was heroes, and we are currently in part 3, the human comedy. We've covered chapter 1, which was droll characters, including schnorrers and beggars, wags and wits, fools and simpletons, schlemels and schlemazzles, and ignoramuses and pretenders. And today we are in chapter 2, rogues and sinners.
Okay. All right. Yeah, good shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you ready to get into this?
I sure as fuck am. Are you?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, so today in Sacrilegious Book Club, we are going to open with Tricksters and Rogues.
Oh, boy.
On page 362.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Tricksters and rogues and all other men who live by cunning and deceit are treated with almost condescending pity in the folk tales of the Jews. This attitude is not difficult to explain about a people, one of whose cardinal religious beliefs is in God's justice, and in its corollary, that divine retribution must always follow the evil that men do.
Yeah, we've heard all about that.
We sure as fuck have. Sooner or later, the ethical-minded Jew maintains it must catch up with the rascal and lay him low, if not in this life, most certainly in the world to come.
That's what they keep saying.
That's what I hear. But that's just like your opinion, man. So anyway, moving on a few paragraphs down into this introduction that we're in. According to Jewish folk belief, the first evil men in the world were those who lived in Sodom and Gomorrah in the days of the patriarch Abraham. So some of these tales are from that time period or reference it.
Yeah, we know how that ended.
Ooh,
yeah, not
wasn't
good.
So good.
Yeah.
Both the Bible and the Talmud tell of God's wrath against the inhabitants of those cities of sin. Because of their wickedness, he vowed to destroy them root and stem. Root and stem.
Got it. Yeah.
But upon Abraham's compassionate intercession, he agreed to spare Sodom, provided 10 good men could be found there. But when Abraham failed to find even that modest number, God descended upon the city in his wrath and destroyed it and all its wicked inhabitants with fire and brimstone.
We talked about this at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't try real hard to find anybody.
He didn't.
I mean, it was kind of like a lackluster attempt.
It really was.
So
and it's like, hey,
I'm not down with that.
He's gonna kill everybody in here. And
right.
No, okay, I didn't even finish my sentence.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Right.
You're just all gonna die is all.
I give up. You're all dead.
Right. So, moving on to page 364, we're going to start with a short little story called You Can't Fool God.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Although,
you can.
I mean, God couldn't figure out where, Abel was when he died.
So apparently you can fool God.
Yeah.
But not in this case involving 2 twin sisters.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 sisters, twins, lived in a certain town. They looked so much alike that when they were together, no one could tell them apart. God could. God
right,
knew.
Of course.
Although both sisters were married, One of the two was a wanton.
A wanton?
Wanton. She was a wanton woman.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And made a cuckold of her husband.
Oh, damn.
That cheater.
Right?
She was a whore. She was a honey-lipped vixen. She was a bad hombre.
I guess.
Okay?
Yeah.
One day, on a pretext, this wanton told her husband that she had to go to another town. Instead, she had a secret meeting with a lover.
Not that.
What?
Oh my God.
Yeah, she's so gross.
Man.
Upon her return, her husband became very suspicious.
Mm.
I mean, did she smell like sex on her body?
I don't know.
Like, why was he suspicious?
What was there to be suspicious about?
Like, I would like more of that story,
right,
please.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was suspicious. And being exceedingly troubled by his doubts, he demanded that she go with him to the high priest so that he might prove her with the bitter waters.
Oh,
do you remember
God, yeah, that's
how
awful.
that goes?
Yeah.
He's like, if you lie, you die.
Right.
That's what he's saying here.
That's fucking stupid.
Right? If the bitter water she drank did not harm her, it would be divine proof of her innocence. And to me, would ruin their marriage forever because it's like, you were going to kill me, though.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I mean, if we know she wasn't innocent, but he doesn't know that. And I'm just like...
And furthermore, you shouldn't have to risk death because you cheated on your husband.
Like, I'm not saying let's all go cheat on our spouse.
Right, but
like,
it's not worth killing somebody.
Death? Like, really? Death?
Right.
That's the punishment, huh?
Yeah,
Ooh.
divorce is fine.
Yeah, that's
Death,
fine.
right out.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, gross. On the other hand, should she be guilty, she would die from the drink.
Jesus Christ.
Just in case you were curious, yes, that is exactly what would happen.
So, I mean, it sounds to me like people would die of it just sometimes, and then they just decided those are the guilty ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it must have
think.
been like a really shitty fucking drink.
Mm-hmm.
And some people died and some people didn't. If you lived, you're okay. But if we get suspicious again, we'll try it again, and then you might die.
Right.
So,
yeah,
just suspicious husbands can just kill their wives because they suspect them of cheating.
Basically.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear that? I think it's in Texas, maybe, or maybe it's just across the U.S. I don't know. Republicans are trying to make it to where wives need their husband's permission to divorce them. Like, that's coming back.
Oh my God!
You can't just leave your husband. You have to, get permission.
That can't stand. That can't possibly. that can't stand.
I mean, right?
That's not okay.
Right?
Like, that's not human. That what?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Interesting, right?
I want more information about that because that's what?
I mean, it sounds right if it's just Texas, because Texas be that way, but
I gotta know more about that.
Oh yeah. Let's look up into that some more later.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, back to our story. The woman had no alternative and was forced to go with her husband to the high priest for the ordeal, because wives are prisoners.
Right.
Which is probably why she was cheating on him. JK, I don't know their story. Maybe he was great, whatever.
I doubt it.
On the way, they passed the house where her twin sister lived. With pretended innocence, she said to her husband, "I beg you, my husband, let me go for a moment into the house of my sister while you wait for me here." The sinful woman went into her sister's house and said to her, "Help me, my sister. My husband is outside waiting to take me to the high priest to put me through the ordeal of the bitter waters. Now listen to me. There's something you can do for me. We both look alike, and if you put on my clothes, my husband won't know the difference," which tells me their marriage wasn't all that great. "I know I'm a sinful woman, and the bitter waters will kill me." Well, at least she was like,
right, yeah, she's honest
upfront
with her sister.
With her sister, yeah. "But you are innocent, and the waters cannot harm you. Go in my place, and you will save my life." Oh, this is so scary, right? Like, I was so nervous how this was going to go.
I'm still kind of nervous.
You
like, the sister doesn't necessarily have to do this.
Right? Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Like, this story had me, like, biting my nails, honestly.
And also, I don't trust the waters.
Right?
Regardless of if you're innocent or not. So, either way, it's kind of a shitty situation for anybody.
Yeah, yeah. And so the good sister changed garments with the faithless one. Faithless. She cheated on her husband, which made her entirely 100% faithless.
Right.
You're either all good or all bad. There's no in between. Fuck you, die.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
and went out to the waiting husband, unsuspectingly because he was a moron and also because he was a bad husband who couldn't tell the difference between his wives.
Right.
His wife and her sister. He led her into the house of the high priest. There she drank the bitter waters and passed through the ordeal without harm.
Well, that's good. Yay!
I pronounce this woman innocent, cried the high priest. You have misjudged her, he rebuked the husband. Overjoyed, the man went home with his wife. On the way, they passed the sister's house. Do wait for me here one moment, begged the woman, while I tell my sister that I have safely passed through the ordeal. The happy husband agreed. As she entered, the wanton sister ran to greet her with tears of gratitude in her eyes. Thank you for letting me not die for being a cheater.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You have saved my life, she cried, embracing and showering kisses on her. But as she kissed her sister...
Oh, no.
We got a Romeo and Juliet up in here.
This is ridiculous.
She inhaled from her mouth the aroma of the bitter herbs, and they entered into her body.
Oh, my God.
With a moan, she fell to the floor, dead, her body swollen, her belly split.
What the fuck?
The fucking end.
That's so ridiculous. This
Right?
is like some magic bullshit that they claim. But that didn't... No.
Right?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, that came from the Ibid. So,
okay.
There you go.
Right.
Ah. Okay. Next story, page 365. It's called The Wise Rogue. I also refer to it as glass houses.
Okay.
Which I think
you also refer to it? Or
Yeah.
other people do?
No, I wrote in pencil
Glass
here.
houses.
Glass houses.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. A man once caught stealing was ordered by the king to be hanged. On the way to the gallows, he said to the governor that he knew a wonderful secret, and it sure would be a pity to allow it to die with him. And he would like to disclose it to the king.
Okay.
He would put a seed of a pomegranate in the ground, and through the secret taught to him by his father, he would make it grow and bear fruit overnight. The thief was brought before the king, and on the morrow, the king, accompanied by the high officers of the state, came to the place where the thief was waiting for them. There, the thief dug a hole and said, "This seed must only be put in the ground by a man who has never stolen or taken anything which did not belong to him. I, being a thief, cannot do it." So he turned to the vizier, who, frightened, said that, well, in his younger days, he had retained something which did not belong to him.
Yeah.
Mumble, mumble, mumble.
Right.
The treasurer said that, dealing with such large sums, he might have entered too much or too little.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And even the king owned that he had kept a necklace of his father's. So, they all suck.
Right. Yeah.
The thief then said, "You are almighty and powerful and want for nothing, and yet you cannot plant the seed, while I, who have stolen a little because I was starving, am to be hanged." The king, pleased with the ruse of the thief, pardoned him. The end.
But just that guy.
Just that guy.
The rest of y'all still got to die.
You have to be smart. If you're going to be a thief, you got to be witty and clever. Okay?
Yeah.
So moving forward a couple pages, we get on page 367, Charity in Sodom.
Okay.
Remember, I told you a lot of these stories either took place in or referenced Sodom.
Right.
Okay? The people of Sodom practiced charity in their own hypocritical way. Whenever a poor... Yeah, I loved that sentence.
Yeah.
Whenever a poor stranger used to ask for alms, everyone would give him a gold piece on which was engraved the name of the donor. However, there was a town law that no stranger could buy food, so in time, he'd die of hunger. Afterwards, each man sorrowfully would come and take back his own gold piece. The end.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. Charity. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Example in Sodom is the very next one, still on page 367. The rogues of Sodom had an odd custom. The man who owned a cow was obliged to graze all the town's cattle for 1 day. He who had none was made to graze them for 2 days. Now, there was a youth of Sodom, an orphan, who lived with his poor, let me turn the page here, mother, his poor mother.
Yeah.
He owned no animal at all, but following the custom, he was forced to graze all the cattle for 2 days. Enraged by this injustice, The orphan went and killed all the cattle in Sodom. Then he said to the inhabitants, let him who owned 1 cow come and take 1 hide. Let him who had none come and take 2 hides. What kind of calculation is that? Cried the inhabitants. Don't blame me. You yourselves set the example for me, answered the youth.
Right.
The end.
I mean, I kind of agree with that. Like,
Sure.
Why should the person that doesn't own any of the stuff that needs to be worked on have to do it?
Yeah, but then he's like, if you didn't own any, you get 2 hides. Not to mention the fact that I killed all of the animals that I'm now giving out.
But he's railing against having to do 2 days of work versus 1 for the ones that own it.
No, I get you. It's just that I don't know that he wasn't going to go to jail on that.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously. Right.
Okay, so next story on page 368 is Cunning Against Greed. Once there was a cunning man who came... Oh, I really liked this one because it's silly. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Once there was a cunning man who came to his rich neighbor and asked him to lend him a silver spoon. The rich man gave it to him. A few days later, the borrower returned the spoon, and with it, a small spoon. What is that for? The rich man asked. I lent you only 1 spoon. Your spoon, the borrower replied, gave birth to this little spoon, so I have brought you back both the mother and child because they both belong to you.
Mm.
Although what the man said sounded foolish, the rich man, who was avaricious, accepted both spoons. A while later, the cunning man came again to his rich neighbor and asked that he lend him a large silver goblet. The rich man did so. Several days later, the borrower returned the goblet, and with it, a little goblet.
Because it had a baby, too.
It had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Your goblet, he told him, gave birth to this little goblet. I'm returning them both because both belong to you. After a while, the cunning man paid a visit to his rich neighbor for the 3rd time and said to him, would you mind lending me your gold watch? With pleasure, answered the rich neighbor, thinking to himself that it would be returned to him together with a small watch.
Right.
So he gave him his watch, which was set with diamonds.
Oh.
One day passed, and another, and still another, but the borrower failed to show up with a watch. The rich man became impatient and went to the house of his neighbor to make inquiry. What about my watch? He asked. The cunning borrower heaved a deep sigh. Alas, I am sorry to tell you that your watch is dead. I had to get rid of it. Dead? What do you mean dead? Cried the rich man angrily. How can a watch die? If a spoon can bear little spoons, answered the cunning man, and if a goblet can bear little goblets, why would it surprise you that a watch can die? Meaning, you're stupid.
Right.
So,
yeah,
there's that.
Yeah.
All right. Moving forward to page 370. One shot too many. I like this one too.
Okay.
Yep. When the Passover holidays were drawing near, a Jewish carpenter, not Jesus,
right,
who had been working in Gamel, was on his way home to his little village with 3 months' wages in his pocket. As he was passing through a dark forest, he suddenly found himself looking into the muzzle of a robber's gun.
Oh, damn.
Hand over your money or I'll shoot, roared an evil-looking bandit. What could the poor man do? He gave him his money. As the robber was stuffing the money into his pockets, his victim pleaded with him, See, it's just before Passover. The money you took from me was to have brought matzos, wine, chickens, and new clothes for my wife and children. Do you think my wife will believe me when I go home and tell her that a robber in the forest took my money? That's your affair, growled the bandit. At any rate, can't you help me a bit? Make everything look real so that my wife will believe me? What do you want me to do? Put a bullet through my cap. The robber laughed, threw the poor fellow's cap into the air, and shot through it as it came down. Fine, rejoiced the Jew. Now fire into my coat. The robber sent a bullet through a corner of his coat. Once more, pleaded the Jew, holding up the other corner for him. No more bullets, grunted the bandit. In that case, my fine fellow, to the devil with you, cried the Jew, overjoyed, and he pummeled the rascal so hard that he didn't leave one whole bone in his body. Then, taking back his money, he continued joyfully on his way home. That was pretty good, yeah?
That was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that is it for that section of Clever Thieves or whatever.
I liked some of those.
Yeah,
those are all right.
They were
That's
fun.
right.
They were lighthearted.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll keep them.
Right. All right. So that was our Sacrilegious Book Club for today.
It was our Sacrilegious Book Club
Sorry,
for today.
I stole your thunder there. Yeah, I apologize. Yeah. And obviously it's being released late.
Mm-hmm.
But we will be back short. We're doing another episode, recording one tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And so tomorrow morning, which maybe by the time you get this same time, I don't know. But we'll be having our first episode of
Song of Songs or Song of Solomon or Canticles or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah, that one.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see you then.
And don't forget, you'll be doing the weekly wrap-up.
Oh, yeah, and I'll be doing the weekly wrap-up.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that will be happening too.
I know.
And then that other one.
And then that other...
The song of Solomon's
Canticle,
things.
Solomon singing Canticle.
Yeah. So we're going to do that now.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.